Yeah, I think it was a tight game. Playing against Coach Side, I think was just yeah, a mistake, and then yeah, and then they just drop, and then it was kind of transition game. But overall, I think it was a good game.
How difficult would you say it is having to deal with both Denny Bouanga as well as Heung-min Son going against two top forwards in this league? Son, who's more proven in Europe, and now coming over to now play in this league.
I think first half, we deal with them, really well. But then the second half, we conceded the goal quite early. So yeah, it was a different game. So you can't say because it was just kind of transition because they just sit down. So I think we deal with them first half really good.
And then kind of just the last one for me, obviously Matt Turner now playing for the Revolution, being in goal. How has it been interacting with Matt, kind of having him as a vocal point in the back line and kind of just assisting this group and trying to get over the hump that we're in right now?
For sure, it's a good addition, to the team. With his experience and kind of, his vocal, he talks a lot. So I think it's really good to the team.
Yusuf, Caleb talked about how he thought the first half played out sort of exactly how he wanted it to, and then it was those first 10 minutes of the second half or so where things started to shift. What did you like about that first half, and then maybe what could have been done a little bit differently to come out of the halftime break?
Yeah, I think we played as a team, and that's how we wanted to play. That was the game plan, and we're really compact and shut them down. So yeah, and then the beginning of the first half, a little bit mistake that that they scored the goal, and then the game changed. So.
And can you talk a little bit about moving on from this result and just looking forward to next week? And
yeah, that's the most important thing, to kind of reset and then recover and then get ready for the next game.
Before the game, I told the guys that to win the game, we're going to have to put together a 90-plus minute performance. I thought the first half was excellent. We made it a very tight game. They had no shots on goal. They had 2 shots total. That put us in a great position going in the second half, being at home. And the last thing I told the group before we left the locker room was they're going to raise their level, and we need to be ready for it, and we need to raise ours. And it's exactly what happened. They came out flying and pressing, and we didn't manage it well. We gave away a silly goal. That 10-minute spell where they raised their level, we didn't manage it, and that cost us the game.
It feels like a performance you saw earlier this year where the first 45 minutes is really close. You guys are team-wide defending, and you have opportunities to nick a goal. Kapana has one, and later on to equalize, it could have been Chonkalai. What's missing in that final third to get you those points?
Yeah, just finish. Finish. I mean, again, it's an even game. It's an even game. I mean, there's a lot of those this year. Where I don't even look at it. Adam's trying to show me it. I'm like, I don't need to look at it. It's an even game. It's a very even game, tight game against a very good team, a very talented team. It's exactly the way you want the game to go. And we just that start of the second half is just so disappointing that we give away a silly goal like that we don't manage their level raising, their press. We don't manage those 10 minutes, and that now puts us in a position down 1-0. I still thought it should have gone 1-1. We obviously had the great chance with Chonkalai. Of course, last goal makes the scoreline look a lot bigger. The game was done. They're always going to have transitions as we look to push and chase. But those 10 minutes, we got to learn from that. I know it's crazy to say this late in the year, but we haven't been able to put 90 minutes plus a complete performance together, which is why we're in every game. But back to your question, that's why we're falling short. We have to start that second half better.
Caleb, you had some pretty solid chances in the first half as well. Talking about it being a 90-minute performance and that 10-minute spell in the second half, it seemed like you had a chance to almost win the game or at least go out front in the first half. Would you agree?
Yeah, I thought it was a great half. You know, I mean, there weren't a lot of chances in the game, but that was by design. You know, we needed to slow them down. We needed to make it a game where we were controlling the dangerous spaces. We were controlling the transitions. You know, I really liked our mentality. I liked the way we started the game. I thought we probably could have been a little more ruthless in the transition moments, you know, have more kind of precision in some of those moments. But yeah, I felt good after the first half, and I felt like you said, we could even have our noses in front. You know, I knew exactly what was going to happen to start the second half, and it was talked about. And so, you know, in the end, they got to learn from it, you know.
Coach, you mentioned earlier this week that Ignatius Ganago would have a very important role now that he's coming back from injury. He slotted in the lineup tonight over Tomas Chancalay, who is a designated player. Can you just comment on that decision and how it will affect either Chancalay or Ganago going forward for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it was a tactical decision. I wanted, you know, with the game plan we had, I wanted wingers that would track and defend and then have pace in transition. So, you know, obviously in a different type of game where I know we're going to have a lot of the ball, we're in the front half, there are a lot of moments where we have the ball in the box. It's a different decision. But I thought, again, you know, Luka and, you know, Ganago did well, did the role I wanted him to do. It's too bad to give away that goal.
And just kind of largely, just how do you feel, you know, you were able to kind of handle the attacking threat of, you know, guys like Heung-min Son and Dennis Bouanga, and just what do you think maybe worked tonight to kind of prevent them, like you said, you know, didn't have a lot of shots on target and a lot of chances, especially in the first half?
Yeah, really well. I mean, I think if you can limit their team like we did, you're putting yourself in a position to win the game. And, you know, that's how I approach every game, you know, and how I approach the prep for every game is I want to put my team in a position to win the game. And absolutely, we were in a position to win the game. You know, for me, a lot of it is, again, just a mentality for 90 plus, and just being a little smarter. You know, when we start that half and we see that they're flying around, you know, let's go big, let's step up, you know, or let's just, you know, not give away a goal like that. You know, it's very uncharacteristic out of Matt to do that. I know it feels bad. You know, again, it's just a shame.
I know on Thursday you mentioned that you're hopeful to bring in an attacking piece or two during this window. It looks like maybe you could have used something off the bench in this game. Are you still hopeful? Is there any update on those individuals coming in?
Yeah, we're hopeful. Yep, we're hopeful. So, you know, I think it looks pretty good. We'll see, though. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Take care.